There are a lot of resources that you can use to make better practices, to organize and execute those skills that every team needs to be able to perform. We're going to look at 5 of those today, and I want to give you a very easy way to remember them. Write down the little statement, I STEP. I, and then S-T-E-P, I STEP. I stands for information. S for space, T for time, E for equipment, and P for the most important resource, people. I STEP, information, space, time, equipment, and people. Utilizing those 5 resources, you can have much better practices. Now, that first one is information. You know, for a player to be successful, she has to do 3 basic things over and over and over and over. The first of those is collect information. The second is make a decision. And the third is to perform a task. Take a player at the plate trying to hit. She's got to collect visual information to begin with. She's got to watch the ball being released and then determine the speed of the ball. Is it going to be up? Is it going to be down? Is it going to be in? Is it going to be out? If you're talking fast pitch softball, is it a rise? Is it a curve? Is it a changeup? Is it a drop? In slow pitch softball, what kind of arc does it have on it? You've got to collect some visual information about that ball. Then you've got to make a decision. Based on the situation and your skill level and the coach's signals and these types of things, you have to make a decision. Do I swing or do I take? There's some judgment there, a decision-making process. And then the third thing your player has to do is perform a task. If she makes a decision to swing, she's got to execute that swing, hopefully properly, and get the result she's looking for. Or if she makes a decision not to swing, then she's got to hold up and not swing. So players basically have to do 3 things: collect information, make a decision, and to perform a task. Well, coaches, to have successful practices, you have to do the same thing. The first of those regards the information that we're talking about today. You've got to collect visual information and verbal information, every type of information that you can that's related to you becoming a better coach and your players doing a better job on the field. Collect information from everywhere that you can find it. Watch videos, listen to audio cassettes, read books and magazines, talk to other coaches, go to clinics, but collect a lot of visual and verbal information. Find out everything you can about how to play and coach this game better. And coaches, while we're doing that and while we're talking about visual information, you as a coach needs peripheral vision. A lot of times we talk about players needing peripheral vision to see what's going on around them. Well, you too need peripheral vision. You need to know from various fields and learn from various areas of expertise. I was once on a flight, and sitting beside me was a man who asked me why I was reading the particular book that I was reading. I was reading a book at that time called The Inner Game of Tennis. And he asked me, did I enjoy playing tennis? And I surprised him and I guess shocked him when I gave him the answer, I do not play tennis. He said, well, why in the world are you reading a book, The Inner Game of Tennis? I said, because it talks about the mental skills needed to play the game of tennis, in which a ball is approaching you and you're hitting it with an implement. That's very much like softball. I told him I did a lot of softball clinics and camps and videos and those types of things, and so I was learning about the thinking process needed to hit a ball that's approaching. That's peripheral vision. One of the best books I've read lately is If It Ain't Broke, Break It. It's a book on innovative means to become better in business. It's a business book. It has very little to do with sports, although they use some examples from the fields of various sports in that book. But broaden your scope and learn from all of the fields that you can so that you can become a better coach. You'll have a bigger storehouse of information when you need it. The second thing you'll need to do is make a decision. You've collected all of this information. That's a never-ending process. And then you've got to make a decision. Which parts of all of this information I have do I use? You've got to be selective. You can't give players everything at one time. You've got to give them bits and pieces of the information that's appropriate to them. Go back to those questions we asked before. Where am I? Where do I want to go? How much time do I have? What's the best way to get there? That involves selectiveness, proper decision making, and using this information that you've collected. Learn to collect the information, learn to make the right decision, and then your players can perform their task. And you as a coach can perform the task that you need to perform. That's communicating this information. Now let's look at some things that help you become a better communicator with that information you've collected and chosen to use.